Hello everyone, welcome back if you've been following these SQL tips that I've been providing. In this particular example, we're going to go over what are these functions known as aggregate functions. So best thing to do is demonstrate it. So I click on a new query and I'm going to continue to work with the tables that exist within the Nemanavan database I have here on the left. So the first thing I'm going to do is let's take a look at this table, the data in the employee table. So we're going to do a blind query and we're going to run that, and we can see that we have all these fields. The particular aggregate functions we're going to focus on right now are known as min, which stands for minimum, max, which is maximum, average, which is average, and sum, which is sum. Okay, so now what does that mean? Databases are really powerful. In this particular table, we really have a small finite amount of data. There's only 10 records. But maybe I'm given the task to determine a minimum value, a maximum value, and so on from the field known as salary. So with that being said, I'm going to say, what is the min value of the field known as salary from the employee table? I run that, and it tells me the minimum value. All right, so you see how that works? What this is it's known as an aggregate function. So it's aggregating the data, meaning it's pulling it together, and then it evaluates it for your required result. Now, if you're new to any level of coding, or you're new to coding, I mean, you might find that this is interesting in terms of SQL. This is a function, and when you hover over it, it tells you that it's a built-in function, and it's looking for an expression, and it's going to return an int. Well, an int is an integer data type, so it's going to return a numerical value. So you can't apply a min value to somebody's name, which is a character string, unless you get into some conversions and some other crazy stuff. But at this level, the min is going to return the value, the minimum value stored in the salary field. So if I replace this with some other numerical field, it will return the min. I could do the same thing also with max, and that will return the maximum value that's stored in that field. And then I could also utilize what's known as average, where it's going to aggregate all the data. It's going to roll it all up, and it's going to give me the average. If I were to take all of those fields and then add them together and then divide them by the total number of fields, I would get the average. So these are aggregate functions. And one of the neat things about these functions is they don't really need to stand alone in a simple select statement. You could actually combine them, even if you're working on the same database field. So I could say min salary max salary from the employee table. And there I get that across there. Now, in a prior SQL tutorial, I talked about how you can change over these particular column names, and these are really table or fields that you can manipulate a little bit further, and you could do that with aliases. And I could say something like that. So I could say select the average as the average and execute it, and it applies the average or the label that I want. I could say something average value given. I mean, it doesn't really care what is contained in between these quotes. It's a dumb text string. And there it is if you drag that over. Okay, so that's a real down and dirty explanation of how you can apply what's known as an aggregate function.